I'm going to be showing you today how to do what I term Frankenstein flats. Basically, that is where you are taking flats that exist already from resources like WGSN and you are combining them to create your own new flat. This is something that I encourage people to do until they get a better understanding of how components work together. You'll learn that through advanced sewing and advancing your knowledge of pattern making. So for now, go ahead and utilize those resources while you can, and just make sure that you're doing the following things when you are doing that. So I went ahead and I already downloaded two flats that I'm going to place together. I will say that you just want to make sure that you are logged into WGSN before you actually download the images, or else they won't save as AI or PDF files. I've also made sure to open up the Croquis template that I have. If I did not have this, there would be no way to figure out the scale of these flats. So it's really imperative that you do that. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and on this layer where you have this Croquis, you're going to go ahead and lock it and create a new layer. Select all, so I've already selected this skirt. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it on this artboard, and I'm going to do the same thing with this dress. So what you'll notice right away is that the scale of these two flats are completely different, and that's an example of why you would want to have a template underneath, or else it's going to not be proportionate to one another. So I'm clicking on this skirt, I'm holding down my shift key just so I can make sure that everything is to scale, and I'm going to figure out where I want it to be on the model. So I feel good about this spot. And again, remember that this is just your reference. So even though her hip is over a little bit like that, like I'm not super worried. So then the next thing that I am going to do is I'm going to take this dress, and obviously what I'm trying to do is make this skirt kind of into a dress by using this top, which looks pretty close to the form. I might need to make it a little smaller. Till I get it to a spot that feels right. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start to kind of dissect these flats. So I say that because there's many layers on the flats that are on WGSN. I think they're very sloppy sometimes, and the reason why they do that is to deter people from editing them. However, you'll see that this dress flat is pretty organized, and the fact that even though it's in a group, there's one that is basically all the shading. There's one that's the kind of the body of the dress, and then there's one that's the outline. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to go ahead, instead of worrying about what's in what group, we're just going to take our white arrow tool and we're going to start clicking on things and erasing them. So I'm going to erase these stripes. You'll notice too that there's just little things in here that don't necessarily make sense once you start investigating the shape of this flat. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drag this underneath the skirt so I can kind of determine where things need to go. So if I want this to be a dress, it may be that I have to And at this point, if you want, you can go ahead and you can take the view off of this croquis that's underneath here. So I'm going to move this up. Might even adjust this. So looking at this, you can see that it looks awkward in a couple of ways. The first way is that it looks like a very strange elongated body. It doesn't give that nice A-line dress look. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to start to manipulate the skirt. So let me go back here. And I'm actually, instead of trying to make this top fit on the bottom of the skirt, I'm going to erase the sides of the skirt so that it flows more like this shift dress. So let me go ahead. Take this off. Take these belt loops off. You would still need a waistband for the zipper to act like what the look of the dress is. So what I'm going to do in that case is I'm going to go ahead and going to erase this side right here. And I'm going to extend this over. And then I'm going to erase that. I don't know what that's from. I'm going to take this print. In some cases, it's easier with these flats because sometimes they're not always symmetrical to go ahead and take your white pen tool, copy this side, and then paste it and reflect it like we did in the past. So you might notice that you need to do some erasing once you've gotten to that point, which is fine. Then you might even want to go in here and recreate some of these necklines to smooth them out. So you'll notice with these flats that you can get off of WGSN, they are a blessing and they are a curse in the fact that they are a good resource to have, but there's also a lot of work you need to do and a lot of understanding of the basic principles of Illustrator in order to create successful manipulations. Otherwise, it's going to look like you just copied and pasted it, and that is not what you want. So even though you do have this resource, it is going to take manipulation, and it isn't something that you can just do one day before school starts. It's something that's going to take a while for you to get the hang of. Let me join those. take this weird one out. I'm going to connect, okay, pen tool, create a neckline, and then I might create one more that's a little bit smaller here. Okay. And then I'm going to raise this waistband up just a little bit. And then take this that I have. First, I'm going to erase this side. Curve it. Add an anchor point. Bring this over. I might bring this up more. Take this point, bring it up. Take this point, bring it up. I'm going to isolate my zipper by double clicking on it and just making it longer. You might have to click this back part too. And I'm going to erase this side right here, and I'm going to copy this side. And paste it. And that might require me to make a couple more adjustments. I'm going to have to bring this down a little bit. And then I'm going to erase this hem. Looks like I'm getting there, so let me move this down. And you can start making decisions on your own about what you want to do. So I feel like this still has some design challenges to it that I don't particularly like. So what I might do is go ahead and take this waistband out. I might go ahead and extend the zipper all the way up. So this could get extended and paste it. Sometimes on these flats you'll get a brush, but this doesn't look like it's a brush. This looks like this is something that's copied and pasted, which is fine. Can't really notice. So I like the way that looks, like way better. And then So let's go ahead and fix this. Pen tool, I mean. Make a decent hemline all the way across. And I'm going to add a couple of anchor points right here and right here. Take my white arrow tool, erase this middle part. And then I'm going to, I still need to put in some sort of dart, which is a fitting device. So I might just put one here. And that needs to be a solid line, so I'm going to deselect the dash line. Do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to go to my align button. So whenever you hit the shift key and you select on multiple things, you have these align things up here, and this will tell you I want to align these two. So I can just do vertical align bottom and it'll shift it down a little bit so they're both aligned with each other. And I'm going to take this zipper here. I'm going to copy it, and I'm just going to take this zipper pull and I'm going to put it up here as well. Then I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and erase those things. So that it is by itself. And I just need to put that shoulder seam in there. And here, make it black line. Go in here and fix this. And I'm just going to copy and paste this path that I made and transform reflect it. So that is how you would do the first part of your Frankenstein flat.